Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 2 Unit 6.5 Notes, Day 2. Today we're talking about operations with radicals. Our learning target today is to be able to multiply radicals. So, yesterday we were talking about in order to add or subtract radical roots, they must have the same number underneath the square root. So the same number under the square root. Okay? Now, what we're talking about today is multiplying, and in order to multiply radicals or the roots, they must have the same nth root. You may be like, dude, what the heck is the nth root? Well, the nth root, all we're talking about is this little guy right here, okay? In order to multiply them, that number has to be the same, okay? So let's look at our rules for the day. It says we need to simplify each expression and to write your answers in simplified radical form, and those must be exact answers. So to do this, we need to combine the radicals into one before simplifying, and then don't forget to multiply any coefficients and variables that are left outside. Okay? So as we look into number one, the first thing that I notice is there's only one radical. Okay? The negative 4x cubed, I can't do anything yet because I need to simplify the blue first, okay? So I have the negative 4x cubed y is going to stay there, and then I'm going to break this down into the three parts, okay? Three parts, yes, the three parts. We talked about this before. So we have 16 to the fourth root, the x to the eighth to the fourth root, and then we have the y to the 12th, or y to the 12th to the fourth root. And I can break each one of those down, okay? So the negative 4x cubed is just, or the negative 4x cubed y is going to come down. And then as I look to my sheet, look, I already jumped ahead of myself. 16 to the fourth power, or 16 to the fourth root is going to be 2. Okay? So I know this is 2. I divide 8 divided by 4 is 2. And then 12 divided by 4 is 3. Now that I've gotten that all taken care of, I can multiply everything. So we multiply the coefficients. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And then with my variables, I add them. So 3 plus 2 is 5. And then my y's, remember that we have a 1 right here. So 1 plus 3, we get 4. So our answer to the first one is negative 8 x to the fifth, y to the fourth. Okay? So once again, I only have one radical, so my 11k squared is just going to go off to the side, and I'm going to multiply it, and I'm going to break each part of this down. Okay? So I have the 64 to the 6th root, k to the 13th. Ooh, can I break that down? Yeah, I'm going to need to break that guy down in a second. Okay, and then we have j to the 24th. So as I look at my best friend over here, 64, there's only one, and it's 2. Okay, so I don't know if you guys want to just simplify it just a little bit at a time. So we have the 11k squared. I know that this is going to be a 2. Now, Ms. Carranza taught us that when we're breaking it down, that we divide it. 6 goes into the 13 2 times. 2 times 6 is 12. And then this is our remainder. So it's k squared and then we have 1k underneath, okay? And then 24 divided by 6 is 4, okay? So now I need to multiply the coefficients. 11 times 2 is 22. I have k to the 4th power. There's only one j, so it's only j to the 4th. And then I cannot forget about our remainder. And our remainder is just 1k. All right, so just like the other day when we were breaking some stuff down, we will have a remainder from time to time. So we cannot forget about him. All right, once again, the first one just stays out. So we have 3 to the 4th, k squared j, and we're going to multiply that into each one of these little pieces. Okay, now we have the 48. I don't think that goes perfectly, do you? Now let's look back over here. Okay, so we are to the 4th root. 256 doesn't, 81 doesn't, but 16 does. So I know that this is going to be a combination of 16 and 3. All right, k to the 6th. Oh man, I know for a fact that doesn't work. So I'm going to go off to the side. Hold on. Sorry, we're going to put 6 here, then the 4. 4 goes into 6 one time, and then my remainder is 2. So we know that that's going to break down to k, and then the 2 outside, and I'm just going to move this because this is getting a little messy. Okay, and then don't forget about the j. Now some of you might know that right away, that it only goes in one time, and then there's going to be one remainder. So I have j, and then one j left over. And look, I wrote a k, that's, or just a 2, that's supposed to be k squared. Okay, so I know this looks a little dirty, but don't worry, we're going to clean it up. Especially because I got to kind of rewrite some of this. So I still have the 3 to the 4th k squared j, okay? 16 to the 4th power is 2. I have my k, I have my j, and then underneath the square roots, we have a 3. We have k squared, and then we also have a j. Okay? And what I'm going to do now is start to multiply. So 3/4 times 2. If you don't know that, it's okay to get your calculator out. But 3 times 2 is 6. 6 divided by 4. And we're going to get a fraction. Okay, and that fraction is 3/2. Okay, so we've got 3/2. K, we have 2 plus 1, so I have k cubed. I have 2 j's, so that gives me j squared. And then we have everything underneath the root. We cannot forget the 3k squared j. Okay? So guys, I know some of this gets kind of dirty, a little bit messy, but all it is just keeping track of your information. Okay? We break down a little bit at a time, and then we hold on to the rest. Okay? So now we have 2 square roots. So cubed roots actually. So the 5 stays out front, and I can multiply these two guys. Okay? So the 3 stays out front, and 2 times 4 is 8. M squared and m to the 4th, or m to the 6th. And then 5 plus 4 is 9. So we multiply everything, and then, oops, sorry. And then I can start breaking it down into the 3 pieces. Okay, so the 5 is still out front. I have 8 to the cubed root, m to the 6th to the 3rd, and then the cubed root of n to the 9. Okay, so now as I start to break all these pieces down, that's 2 m squared n cubed, because 6 divided by 3 is 2, 9 divided by 3 is 3, and then all I have to do is multiply to get 10. So 10m squared n cubed is my final answer. Sometimes they're going to work out all nice and pretty like that, and we're like, yes. But then, sometimes they won't. Okay? So, the negative 3a stays out front, and then I'm going to multiply these two together because they have the same number. Okay? So, I would go off to the side, however you want to do it, 27 times 9, and we get 243. I have 6 plus 7, which is 13. And then B, 5 plus 6 is 11. We're going to break down each one of these. So the negative 3a stays out front. Uh, 243 to the 5th power, a to the 13th, I'm sorry, to the 5th root, and then b to the 11th. Okay. So looking at our nice little cheat sheet, when we're at the 5th root, it actually breaks down to 3. So that's nice. So I know that that's a 3. Now, 5 goes into 13 2 times, and then my remainder is 3. So we have a squared, and then my remainder. Okay, the b, 5 goes into 11 2 times, and my remainder is 1. So I have b squared, and then my remainder. Okay? So we multiply the coefficients. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. A cubed, b squared. Okay, how'd you get a cubed? Well, 1 plus 2 gives me 3. And then this b is all by himself. And then everything that's underneath the root is a cubed, and then the b. So everything we multiply and combine we do. Everything else stays underneath the root. Okay? So number 6, why don't you guys see, can you multiply everything underneath the root? Okay? So everything's going to say to the 6th root, but go ahead and multiply everything and see what you get. Pause the video. Good luck. Okay, so I think on yours it should say that that's y cubed. Okay. Oh, no, hold on. What am I doing? There we go. What am I doing, Mr. Grice? I know, I'm all sorts of crazy today. Okay, so anyway, it should got 128, x to the 17th, y to the 12th. Now, we're going to break down each one of these. Sorry, you can kind of already tell my coloring. So each part of this we're going to break down. So I have 128. We're going to do the x to the 17th and then y to the 12th. So to the 6th root, it's just 64, but I do know that 128 divided by 64 is 2. So I can break that down to 64 and 2. Now, if you want to break down this real quick, 17 divided by 6, it's 2 times, and then we're left over with 5. So we get x squared, and then x to the 5th under the square root, and 12 divided by 6 works out perfectly. So everything that we're left with, okay, we know that that's a 2, so he comes out front. The x squared comes out front. The y squared comes out front. And then everything that's left over is the 2 and the x to the 5th, okay? So everything that stayed underneath is right there. So we just have to be very good at collecting our data and not moving it around or losing it, okay? I know, we're not done yet. A couple more. Okay, so for number 7, why don't you see if you can multiply everything and then start to split everything up. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and good luck. Okay, so there we go, splitting everything up. Now, remember that if there's no number out front, that it's a square root. So these are really 2's. I don't know if you need those or not, but if you need them, just go ahead and write them down. So as I'm looking for how to break down 245, I know that our list kind of stops at 16, but remember, those aren't all the square roots, okay? There's 1, 4, 9, 16, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, and it goes on. Sorry, 122. No, 121. I had it right the first time. I know it's a long day. 144. Okay, so you need to check all of the different roots to see what it is. And the one that actually ends up working out is 49. Okay, so this breaks down to 49, the square root of 49, and the square root of 5, which ends up being 7. Okay, now m to the 15th, the square root of that, we divide that by 2. 2 goes into 15 7 times, and then there's 1 left over. Okay, so 15 divided by 2 is 7 with 1 left over. And then n to the 16th ends up being n to the 8th. Okay? So I don't know if you guys just want to keep bringing those down like this, however you like to write it. But then my final answer is the 7, m to the 7th, n to the 8th, and then underneath the square root is my 5 and my m. Okay, number 5. Okay, so I have 2 numbers outside, and then I have my two guys underneath the root, okay? So 6 times -2 is -12, and then underneath the square root, we have 48 times 4, which gives us 192. N to the 6, oh my gosh, we got a lot of stuff. So alphabetical order, we have m to the 8th, n to the 7th, and then we have p to the 10th. Okay? So we would want to break everything down. Remember that the -12 stays out front. I'm waiting to multiply it. The 192, m to the 8th, n to the 7th, and p to the 10th. Okay. Now 192, we're going to break that down. We're going to divide that by 32 because 243 doesn't go in there. Okay, so 192 divided by 32, and we get 6. All right, so the -12 is out here. And we know that it's going to be 32, which is 2. So watch how I write this down. That's going to be 2 with a 6 underneath. M8, we know that we're going to get 1m, and then 8 minus 5 is 3. 7 goes into, or 5 goes into 7 one time, and we're going to be left over with n squared. And then 10 divided by 5 is 2. So do you see how we have to keep track of every single one of these? Yeah, I know, it can be a lot of work. Okay, so now what we can do is we can multiply the coefficients. -12 times 2 is -24. Then I need to keep track of the m, the n, and the p squared. And then underneath the square root are all those guys, okay? The 6 m cubed n squared. Okay. All right. Well, number 6 right here. Wait, what's up with all the numbering down here? I just noticed that 7, 8, 9. Okay. Number 9, you guys are all on your own. Okay. Well, yes, of course I saved the hardest for the last. So just remember this guy stays the same, and you're going to combine these. Okay, that's step 1. Okay, I'll check in on you in just a sec. Okay, so there's the halfway point. 1/2 w squared z is still out front. And then I broke it down to 40 to the cubed root, w6 to the cubed root, y to the 15th to the cubed root, and z to the 5th to the cubed root. All right, so we have to break down each one of these, which I just did. Okay, so the 1/2 w squared z stays out front. And now we're looking at cubes, so cubed root, 216, no. 125, no. 64, no. Does 27 go into 40? No, but 8 does. So it's going to be 8. 40 divided by 8 is 5. So that's going to be inside, and then it's going to be a 2. So this will break down to 2, and then the cubed root of 5. 6 divided by 3, we get 2. 15 divided by 3 and we get 5. In Z, we're going to get 1Z and then there's going to be 2 left over. Okay? So we have our coefficients to multiply, and then you guys can figure out the rest. So go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. So there we go, guys. I'm sorry. I hope some of you were yelling at me through the wonderful world of technology. That should have been Z to the 12th. And Z to the 12th gives us, cubed root gives us Z to the 4th. Okay? So hopefully you guys caught my mistake right there. So I apologize about that. But then our final answer is 1, W to the 4th, Y to the 5th, Z to the 5th, and then the cubed root of 5. Now, if you have any questions or you need any extra help, please come see Ms. Carranza or myself. We would love to help you out. Your homework is 6.5 notes, practice B. This is Mr. Grice signing off. Thanks for watching.